Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's Fireside Chat event, which is sort of a sequel to last month's successful launch of the Minerva Book Club on our main campus. This time, we have the pleasure to welcome back Mr. Mojalefa Mogono, Consul-General of the Republic of South Africa, again to our own campus in Kwai Heng. Please give him a big hand. Mr. Mogono will share his thoughts and insights of issues concerning both South Africa and Hong Kong with our Dean. Please also feel free to raise any questions and join the discussions along the way. We also have the pleasure to have Mr. Owen Tam, our University Librarian, and Mr. Bill Tang, our Associate Librarian, here with us today. Before we begin, may I invite our Dean, Dr. Benjamin Chan, to present Mr. Mogono with a certificate of appreciation. Mr. Mogono and Dr. Chan, please. May I now invite Mr. Owen Tam, University Librarian, Mr. Bill Tang, Associate Librarian, Ms. Stella Seagal, and our Associate Directors to come to the stage to have the photo, please. Yes. And also our Associate Directors, please. See why? Larry, see why? Yeah. Thank you very much. Please take a seat downstairs first, as we'll now take a group photo together. Thank you very much, Johnson. And now, without further ado, may I invite Mr. Mogono to come to the stage and say a few words to us. Mr. Mogono, please.
Can you hear me? Yes. All right, good stuff. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon to the management of the University Metropolitan. Thank you for having me. This is my third time coming here, right? Second time in this. Oh yeah. Thank you very much for having me here. My name is Mojalefa Mogono. I am coming from what you call Namfe, which is South Africa. I'm coming from South Africa. I am the Consul-General of South Africa. I'm not going alone here. I have my Consul Political, Ms. Stella Strau, and my Secretary, Kitty. Now, I was thinking a lot of like exactly what I am going to share with you today. But nevertheless, through Helen's office, they assisted me on talking more about our celebration on our 30th anniversary for the Freedom Day that we are having. And I don't know all of you guys if you know South Africa. South Africa, it's in the south of Africa, literally on the south of Africa. We are about 62 million population. Our currency is it's rand. We call it a rand, and it's a country which is more youthful, meaning there are more youth like within like our country. We have about 11 official languages, of which the 12th one it's a sign language. Yes. What can I share with you about South Africa? There's so much. It's a dynamic country. Okay. We've been called a rainbow nation for one reason, and that is why we are here today. The country is called the Rainbow Nation because of one gentleman who united South Africa. His name is Rolihlahla Nelson Mandela. I know most of you have heard about that name. It's a very universal name. But let me just share a bit of story about this gentleman and why we've been called a rainbow nation. Um, we had what the system in South Africa, what they used to call apartheid. Apartheid is more like a system that was oppressing a certain portion of population in the country, and others, like the oppressors, were very minority people. Now, what happened is that you are not able to speak say anything, meaning only those like the oppressors could tell you to dictate where to go and what to, so many things. We are just like, the majority were oppressed by the minority. Now, Mandela and other gentlemen, they fought for that we should all have equal rights in South Africa. Now, unfortunately, the oppressor, he has more upper head in everything. Now, what transpired is that unfortunately, because of their bravery, they were jailed. It was not only him, there were a couple of them, they were jailed. And then after being jailed, of course, people in South Africa started to go around the world trying to ask for support and to put sanctions into this oppressive South Africa, which is where it was run by the whites. Now, Mandela, unfortunately, he was locked in incarceration for 28 years. Now, ask yourself, what would happen should you be arrested and be in jail for 28 years? Obviously, you're going to have anger issues because of those who will put you in jail. There's so many things that you would toss them. But guess what he did? When he got out, people in South Africa wanted revenge, especially blacks. They wanted to revenge back to the whites who were oppressing us. And what he did, he said, let's unite. Other than being fighting, let's unite. Let's look and unite and make sure that we build a better South Africa. That is why now we got we call it a rainbow nation. It's through, a rainbow has many lines, colors. That meaning that we unified because of that strategy that this old man, may his soul rest in peace, that he came with. So, can you imagine coming out from jail and you're talking about peace? So many people in South Africa were confused. They thought like maybe Mandela was bought, was giving money so that he can just calm the black nation. But no, I think what he did, he was just to make sure that he believed in peace. And then that's exactly what he did. South Africa, it is what it is right now because of the bravery of the sacrifices of the old man Mandela, Nelson Mandela. Now, 30 years anniversary, we've had so much, we've been going through a lot in South Africa. So Mandela, after he got out from jail, he was the first state president after 94, 97, 94. He became the first president of the country, the first black president of the country. And then, so since from 94 till this year, we're celebrating 30 years. Unfortunately, I would have loved to invite you, all of you guys, to come and celebrate our National Day on Thursday. So we are celebrating our National Day. Normally it's on the 27th of April, but we're going to be celebrating on the 25th. So in short, I can spend the whole day talking about South Africa, telling you about our struggles. And but however, one thing that we have learned through this journey is that in life, you gotta have forgiveness for your peace of your mind. That's exactly what we learned from this old man. If you stay with hatred in your life, you won't go anywhere. So always forgive those who trespass against you. It's as the Lord's Prayer says, you know. So this 30 years, it was hard fought. Some people died along the way, but however, here I am. I'm here and to talk to you and to tell you more about my country. And being here in Hong Kong is such a privilege in your university to a bit of you, like introducing you to South Africa. And I know that you want to know more about South Africa, and you know, we got so much to experience in South Africa. Having said that, I'm really pleased, and thank you very much for inviting me to share with a bit of a short story about South Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mogono, for shedding some light on Nelson Mandela. Okay, so Mr. Mogono, let's see how much our colleagues actually know about South Africa. Talking about South Africa, I wonder what would come to your mind. Now, for me, it's always been one of my many travel dreams to do a safari in South Africa. So what about you guys? Let's see what our colleagues, if any of our colleagues has anything to say. What comes to your mind when it comes to South Africa? You can just shout a few words.
I think Heidi, the first thing to ask is, has anyone here been to South Africa? I know Heidi is very eager to go to South Africa.
I haven't.
Oh, you haven't?
I haven't been to South Africa.
You haven't been, okay. So anybody who has been to South Africa? Ah, over there, yes. Can you share with us?
Hello. Actually, the first time I visited South Africa is quite a number of years ago. The impression when came to my mind is also very similar as Heidi. I thought there is like a lot of animal when I left the airplane, but actually that is not. It's a very civilized city. The first city that I visited is Johannesburg. So when it comes to my mind is the people in South Africa is really nice, very famous for wine and delicious food. So that is what I remember in South Africa.
Thank you. So anything else? What comes to your mind when we talk about South Africa other than safari? Yeah, do you watch movies? Do you know what's very famous in South Africa? Obviously Nelson Mandela. You know, just want to get the, you know. No. Maybe we could ask Mr. Mogono later. Okay, so now I invite our Dean, Dr. Benjamin Chan, to host the discussion section with Mr. Mogono.
Yes, let me introduce our audience to Honorable Consul General. Now, The audience here consists of staff members in my school, as well as students. Now, the full-time students are mostly on second semester, post-semester break. They are preparing for examinations. But we do have a variety of students in our school because we have the Elder Academy as well, okay? So a number of our Elder Academy members are actually here today, right? Yes. And for this topic, I think we need to have a combination of younger staff and also older students who will understand the historical background back in the 80s and in the 90s, okay, to facilitate our discussion. I think to understand a place, its people, I think it should be reciprocal. So a while ago, we asked the audience about their impression of South Africa, and you heard about diamond, you heard about safari. Now let's ask our Honorable Consul-General Mogono, what is your impression of our place, Hong Kong, and its people?
Thank you very much for your question. You see, Hong Kong, okay, let me start by saying this. I was supposed to come to Hong Kong in 2019 on leisure. Unfortunately, that day I was supposed to fly in. There were some problems at the airport. Protesters went to the airport that time, so we could not fly in. Okay, fine. Then unbeknown of me that I was going to be posted 4 years down the line, coming to be a Consul General here in Hong Kong. Now, when I got to Hong Kong, because of I've been to other Asian countries, like I've been to Japan, I've been to Thailand, Vietnam, and others. Now, it was easy for me to understand the culture of Asians. It was quite easy for me. However, quite different, because remember, the cities are not the same. Hong Kong, I would classify it as a bourgeoisie kind of a city. It's a kind of a, it's an old city, but yet, that's where everything started, actually. This is my belief. Everything started here. I don't really care about so much what I've seen in mainland, but everything started here in Hong Kong. Now, back to your question. How I find Hong Kong. I find people here in Hong Kong very warm people. Very conservative, it's understandable. They're very, what you call friendly. Like in terms of, it's easier to ask anyone in English. That's what makes it more, Hong Kong to be more special. Because of, when you go to mainland, language become a problem because of, you need to know more what you call Mandarin and other Chinese languages. So it becomes more special in terms of that. So it's easier to navigate here in Hong Kong because of the East meeting the West. None of any other Asian city has the experience that Hong Kong has. So therefore, people here becomes more easier to converse with, getting directions. So people here are very lovely, but yet conservative. You gotta know how to approach them. More especially as a consulate, I think even Stella would tell you, sometimes you find it hard to do certain things because of, we understand that people here in Hong Kong, you need to understand better. In terms of one, we believe that we have to understand the culture of a person before we can talk about business and other things. But underlying everything else, people here in Hong Kong are very nice people. And I'm very happy to be here. It's a very safe place to be at. Thank you.
Thank you so much for loving our place. We love you as well. Okay. Now, for the audience, for most of my colleagues and for most of our students, they rarely have a close encounter with a Consul General. So today, I think is for most people a close encounter with a Consul General. So I think they would like to understand, what does a Consul General do? So he is sent to another place, another country to represent his home country. So what does he do in that country? Can you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'll start to define between a consul general and the ambassador, because sometimes there's a confusion between the two. Okay. I start with the ambassador before I come to me. Ambassador is an embassy, meaning they represent the country. The ambassador represents the country, meaning that they're more like in political. There's a bit of economic, but it's more political. It's more like, parties to parties and what so forth. And then if the country is too huge, for example, like China, is too huge that like an ambassador can take care of service all over China. China is too huge. So therefore, there is what we call a consulate. So South Africa have two consulates in China. It's Hong Kong and one in Shanghai. Now the role of a consul general, it's simply more on trade relations, investments to the country. I'm more like the face of the country. I'm more representing the president on promoting our country's trade relations, what we have, what we can buy in South Africa. That is my role actually, and of course promote a bit of culture to what we do in South Africa. Those two are more fundamental in my role as a consul general. So basically, trade relations, investments, and culture. Because without cultural exchanges, you will never achieve the first ones. Because I have to get to know you first, then afterwards, after you've earned the trust, that's when then we can talk about business, because we are very comfortable on making those relations, trade relations with me.
So Consul General Mogono has talked about trade relations, investment relations. So what are some of the areas, the priority areas that you're working on? Can you share with us?
Currently, we are working on promoting our economic or the investment by having different kinds of seminars. Just recently, we had a meeting, or rather a business lunch, with diamond diamond traders in Hong Kong. So meaning we had all the diamond people like within in Hong Kong to discuss on how to promote our South African diamonds, because of the ma'am there said spoke about diamonds. True, ma'am, we were known of having the best diamonds in the world. So therefore, we sat there and we were talking about how do we now making sure we had collaborations with the local diamond traders, so to make sure that there is a kind of economic activity between South Africa and Hong Kong where diamonds are concerned. There are a couple of them that we do on trade and so forth, because we do get all the time inquiries on meat issues, because of we do what called import more meat in China and here in Hong Kong as well. Yeah, so it's one of the few that examples I can give you at hand.
Consul General, now in my institution, because I deal with my colleagues deal with students. So when you talk to students, eventually you'll be talking to them about career directions, what kind of work they're going to do. So I think a question.
Okay, that's a very interesting question. Okay, I'm just gonna be just open-minded about that question. Okay, for example, myself, I'm not originally coming from the Department of Foreign Services. Ms. Stella Strau, she has been in that department. Now, in order for a person to be in this position, there are two things involved. One is either you get chosen by the president, of which this is my side, because I'm the more like, lack of better word, an outsider, from meaning I'm not a seasoned what you call diplomat coming from the department. And so secondly, for example, Ms. Chow, like this, it's either like, within like the in the department, they get like selected who does that and what of. So that's the only way. It's either there are two ways. Either you become like get selected by the department or by the presidency. So this is how I became like a what you call a consul general. So countries to countries they differ. Some they normally just select from anyone who's working at the foreign department. And some they differ from country to country. But in South Africa, you get chosen by the presidency or by the foreign what called department. That's how like our system is like is done.
That means to say your career started with some other things first.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So would you like to share as well?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I am coming from a mining town in the northwest of the country in South Africa. Okay, it's a mining town where what you call platinum. As you know, South Africa it's number one producer of platinum in the whole world. So my area where I'm coming from is mostly on platinum. So now, obviously, one thing that will come into your mind is that what someone can do. Okay, I am coming from as a businessman. I was heavily like involved in the mines, like in the northwest where I'm coming from. So basically, before I joined the foreign services, I was a businessman in the mines. Yeah.
So for our students, because we always talk to them about career readiness, preparation for careers.
Yeah.
So based on your experience, what advice would you give to our young people? The context may be different, but I think human experience, working experience are closely similar. Yeah.
Career advices, it will differ from a person to person what they're looking at in that what you call respective career. But one thing that I know is that when you're looking at a career, one thing you should have, the first thing you should have a passion to what you're doing. Don't go to a career thinking about money. Money would make you very, very sad person once you get there. The thing is, you enjoy what you're doing, you become an expert what you're doing, money will come to you, will follow you, because meaning people would be coming to you for advices because of you are the guru of that career. So that is why you find people they're always headhunting because of there's nobody else who does it. You does it better. I'll just give an example about a sweeper. Said even you can be a sweeper in anywhere, be the best sweeper ever. That people would know that like this person, there's no one who sweeps better than this person in a place. You understand? Now you are an expert. If should anything happens, like they go to you. There might be other sweepers, but people know like where you have swept, there are no problems. So that's number one. Number two is that do not be afraid to ask questions or people that you aspire to. Don't be afraid to ask them. How did you get there? I'm interested in this. Do not fail to do that because of some people just put pride. It's like, nah, I'm not going to be asking that person. And you realize that so many people have similar struggles that you are facing, but now they would more advise you on how to overcome those struggles in order to attain your career path. Number three Switch off your phone, number 3. Number 3, I would think is that you as a person, you gotta be positive. Positiveness, it really makes a person to overcome anything in their career. You're gonna meet people who are negative in careers. I can tell you, I've met in my life, I've met when I was in the corporate world, I've met people who were mean, like literally mean. Don't think like your career is gonna be an easy route where you're gonna just everything you're gonna get it them the way you want. You're gonna get people who are gonna discourage you. You're gonna get people who you would think twice on going to work. You're thinking, oh no, why am I going to work? Because of this person is being hard to me. So choose your career wisely. Don't put money first. Just enjoy what that you're doing. I think your future will be more brighter. Thank you.
There's so much packed in your good advices. A lot of wisdom in there. So I think our students and our colleagues will benefit a lot from it. I probably would like to invite whether you have any questions to ask Honorable Consul General before we proceed to talking about the books that you see on our table. Okay. So anyone has a question that you'd like to ask Honorable Consul General Mogono? Or any response to what he has just mentioned? Over there. Yes. Okay.
Just one interesting question. I heard that South Africa, there are 3 capitals, but many countries there's only 1 capital in, for example, Beijing in China. But I heard that there are 3 capitals, right, in South of Africa. Can I know how about the difference between these capitals? I heard one capital is called Cape Town, and other 2 I forgot their name.
Oh, capital city. Oh, I was a bit, now I'm confused. No, we have 3 actually. One is in Pretoria, one is in Cape Town, the other one is in Bloemfontein. Oh, the difference. The one in Pretoria, it's administrative. The one in Bloemfontein, it's judicial. That's Ms. Stella she's a lawyer by profession. The third one is the parliament, right? Cape Town. It's the parliament, yes. The third one in Cape Town. Are you clear with that? So the first one in Pretoria is administrative, and the one in Bloemfontein it's judicial, and then the third one in Cape Town is it's the parliament.
So I think Terence has been reading about South Africa recently to know that there are 3 capitals. So who else has a question? No? Okay, now let's proceed to talking about the books. Now we have this Minerva Book Club, and we have held so many book sharing sessions. So I thought about the National Day of South Africa, which is coming up, and it's their 30th anniversary. Very, very meaningful, the establishment of the Rainbow Nation. So I said, why not come up with a collection of books to recommend to our academic community within Hong Kong MU. And immediately, our librarian, everybody knows our librarian, Mr. Owen Tam. Owen has been very, very supportive of the whole idea. So we had a book club event previously last month in the main library. Then we're holding this one here. And then after this event, these books about Nelson Mandela and others about the Rainbow Nation will be shifted over to the main library for display. And it will influence more students and staff. So that's the intention. So I think talking about, as you can see from the book cover, you see the most important figure here is Nelson Mandela, which Consul-General has explained a while ago. He's the first black president of the Rainbow Nation, okay? So perhaps I would recommend you, if you have time, now this one comes from the consulate. The other one, the smaller one, the smaller book, I think it's a more graphic type because a lot of people here don't have enough time to read. So we bought a graphic one, flip over easier, quicker. You digest that one first, then you come back to this heavy volume here. That is the technique to read these days, okay? Then, apart from that, you ought to know more about the founding of the Rainbow Nation. They involve other great people. And I always remember another guy who's very important. I don't know whether you know him or not. The Arch. I think you called him the Arch, right?
The Arch, yes.
The Arch. Archbishop Desmond Tutu, the Archbishop of Cape Town. And he is a very spiritual figure. Maybe I should invite Consul-General to say a few words about Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Archbishop Desmond Tutu was very iconic in South Africa. During the dark days of South Africa, you know, people used to be very angry, like, want to always commit crime whilst fighting for freedom. Now, you realize like you need some spiritual connections, but besides that, when you're having a spiritual connected person within the struggle, people tend to listen to you better than when you are fighting, holding guns, and people will think like you are crazy. You want to kill people and what so forth, and you want your freedom. So Desmond Tutu he was in the struggle. Going with this freedom fighters. He was more a key figure on the international world because they looked at a spiritual person to say, these people, they are not fighting with guns. They just want to make sure that they're fighting for equality. So therefore, he was more the forefront person. It was not only him at Desmond Tutu, were others, but he was the most known one, like coming from Soweto. So it's important to understand that like his role within the struggle, it was more to make sure that like there was always within the fighting, there was not like people now starting to be going berserk and killing people. He was there to guide them to say, we will attain our peace and get what we want, but not through killing the same oppressors, but through talking to them and making sure that we make them understand that what we want equality in South Africa.
I still remember watching the news. Nelson Mandela was incarcerated for so many years. He was only released, I think, towards the end of the 1980s, right? Sometimes 89, late 1980s.
Yeah.
So the figure that we saw on television was mostly the Arch leading the crowd, okay, to continue the struggle of the South African nation. So while Nelson Mandela was incarcerated, somebody has to continue on, and that person, I think, is the Archbishop. Of course, there are other people. I remember Walter Sisulu.
Yep.
Yeah. The others I forgot. Okay.
No, there's also Owak Tambo.
Okay.
Owak Tambo is the name that like our international airport in Johannesburg is named after him. So he was more one of the founding members, or not founding members, but he was on driving ANC to achieve like the freedom. He was one of the people, including Mandela, Walter Sisulu. There are a lot of them actually. The list is long, but obviously within that list, we can't be all leaders in it. You can be all of you, but then you're gonna select possibly the dean to be the one who's leading you. So obviously the dean would be more known, but doesn't mean that you did not contribute on making sure you change things. It's just that the tin was a face of the struggle. That's how it is. Thank you.
Talking about that, we should be introducing another book. This book says Everyday Ubuntu. Okay, so this is the kind. My understanding is this is the kind of South African philosophy about life, living together as a community. Nobody can be alone. You are successful because of everybody who is successful. I learned about this because my background is Afro and we have different traditions. We try to cover all the different traditions around the world. When we talk about African, it's normally this one, Ubuntu, and the Tanzanian president, Julius Nyerere. So those two people from Africa. So maybe again, I invite Consul-General to say something about your national philosophy, Ubuntu.
You know, with Africans, naturally, you know, we believe in a sense of togetherness. In essence, Ubuntu means togetherness. You know, we respect each other's boundaries, like we assist each other. So Ubuntu, it's a very powerful word in our African cultures. It doesn't matter what culture you're from in South Africa, but in the sense of Ubuntu, meaning we respect each other. We more like embrace each other, and this is more the meaning of exactly of Ubuntu. So without that spirit of Ubuntu, you are just like you are living in a no man land. Like as they say, no man is an island. So Ubuntu means togetherness. Like that spirit of working together, the spirit of unification, of united. This is what we call Ubuntu. Yeah.
So we learned something personally from the Consul General. Now comes to the fourth book. This is about the Rainbow Nation. Okay, so 30 years ago, I think it was on the 10th of May, 1994. Am I correct? We got the dates wrong. Nelson Mandela was inaugurated as president.
27th of April, we went for voting.
Yeah.
There was a first diplomatic, the first our voting thing. Well, it could be May. It was May. Yeah, it was May. I think you're right.
Okay.
I think all South Africans, no, actually, we don't remember mostly on the day he was inaugurated. Yeah. Most of us, we know the day that we voted, because it was special. It's more special than anything. It will still remain in our mind because of it was the first time that a black man would vote. So in terms of being inaugurated, to us it's like, okay, it's the celebrations. But the most important fundamental one, it was the day we casted our voting the first time. You could have seen the lines. It was never seen before. It will never happen in our lifetime because of, since after that, people want to vote. Yes, they do vote, but it's not the same as the first time casting that vote to say, now I'm free. With this vote, I am getting my freedom, what we call ticket. So that's why it's like about integration. It's important, but we know more about the day that
cast the vote.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That is why we're celebrating the National Day. You understand? So we don't celebrate the day when he was inaugurated, but it's not like it's not important. It is still important, but we just that, yeah. Yes. But thank you for that.
Yes. I think the only difference is between an insider's view and an outsider's view. Yeah. The insider's view is the right to suffrage for the black South Africans, the first time to exercise the right to vote. Because for us, voting is so simple. The government has to go and vote. It's your right. But then we're hearing 30 years ago, it was the first time for the black South Africans to cast their vote and elect their president freely. Okay. So I think for some of our audience here, not really some, many, they may not know about that historic moment. So we have prepared a short clip to play the exact moment that Nelson Mandela was inaugurated, and he gave a speech. And you will find the way he speaks and what he said, okay? So the best part of it is played back for you, okay? Ask Honorable Consul General, you were, I believe you were watching this either on the scene or on television. How did you feel that moment?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. In 1994, I was still a young man. But very, I was still at, I think 94, I was still in high school. I was, I think I was in grade 11. Now, I'm a very inquisitive person. I've always like read about the stories about what happened in the past and what so forth. I was never heavily affected by apartheid like my mother or my parents had. Okay. So what I could do is to understand the pain that they went through. And I believe in order to make sure that to move on, you gotta embrace your past so that you can also, embrace the future where we're going. So that moment when I was watching the television, I had so much in my mind. And I wondered, what did these oppressors do to our parents? Because of so many people were really emotional to seeing a first black president to be in that hell. Because they've never thought that will ever happen in their lifetime. So to me, I had mixed emotions. I was asking myself, how, how can a person be so cruel to humankind to this extent that when you read stories about what these oppressors were doing to the black nation. So when I watched that movie, inauguration, my emotions were mixed. I was happy, I was sad at the same time, but I was also hoping, I was very hopeful that we are going to have a better life for all. Though we haven't attained the equality, but we're still working towards that. So what I see then and now is that the Mandela era, they played their role. They gave a baton to the next generation to say, go on. We have started on changing the South Africa. So I did not really expect much from them that they've changed everything overnight. It's still an ongoing thing. So therefore, it's our turn now to make sure that this pattern, we move on with it and give those who are coming after us. We give them the same pattern which was polished by them, and then so that they continue making sure that they achieve what Mandela's and others have started, meaning equality for all and freedom for all, so that we can live in a better country. Thank you.
Thank you for your sharing, CG. I'm also very moved by thinking back. I was also younger, of course, in those days, right? No gray hairs, right? Now, if you may allow me, I'd like to play another short clip about the arch. So let's watch together. Okay. So that is a short clip about the great the Archbishop, and I think you would notice what he said. My humanity is caught in yours. If you dehumanize somebody, you also dehuman yourself. Okay, those are very powerful words. So the end of apartheid is not ushered in by punishment for, by exacting retribution. There are two kinds of justice. I think Stella is the expert. You studied law, right? Retributive justice and restorative justice. So I think this is that South Africa made a contribution really to the world, because South Africa continues to be a spokesperson for a lot of the international issues that involve human rights. And perhaps our Consul General may want to say something about this, or would you like to share something? Yeah.
Absolutely. I want to start by, if you saw that video, when he was asking people to hold hands. Now, it shows you that it was important for us to have a clergyman within the struggle, because of, if there was somebody else who would say, raise your guns, let's go kill them. But instead, it shows like, raise your hands. We are united in this, and we should be uniting to fight this dehumanizing kind of a spirit. Now, going to human rights, because of what experience that we had, we believe that we could assist or share our experience with different people in the world, that how important are human rights. I think most of the people you read in this lecture hall is that that what's happening on televisions, right? South Africa stood up for Palestine in terms where human rights are. We went to court. It's in the public knowledge, right? Now, we come a long way with Palestine. Mandela have said it publicly, so that during the dark days of apartheid, Palestine, which was led by Arafat, he came and assisted them when they were in a time of need. So therefore, when the same problems arises to the same people, why would you want to sit down and not assisting the same person who was there for you during the time of need? So what you see standing for human rights, it's not it's not like because of we have a very eternal friendship, but it's a basic thing for any humankind to have those rights, human rights. And we did not do only in didn't do it only in Palestine. We have been doing it here in the whole Africa. You read stories that like there's in the whole world, it's a fact. There have never been so coups like Africa. Every time there's coup, military the takeover of governments. And see, what happened is that we become the bigger brother. West South Africa, we go to those countries and to share to them, like, listen now, in order to find solutions your own way, in your own way. But remember, human rights should be always being considered during these negotiations. This is where we became more known of being, fighting for human rights, not only in Palestine, but we do it throughout the whole Africa, because we believe that, we should unite Africa and making sure we work hand in hand. So not only Africa, even throughout the whole world. You have seen what's happening. I'm telling you, right now, we are bold enough to say, let's unite as the world. We need to live in a better world. And living in a better world, what it means, meaning human rights should be always considered first.
I hope that our colleagues and students can learn from what CG was saying. We have the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDG 7, and number 16 is about peace, justice, and good institution. So let's remember that giving peace a chance is very important, okay? And upholding human rights is very important. So does the audience have any question or any comments that you'd like to ask Honorable CG? Or CG would like to ask them any questions you've heard? They're so quiet.
Thank you very much for the talk and speech. And Nelson Mandela is really a great man. He spent, I think, more time in jail than on his own. He sacrificed a lot for the people of South Africa. And as a Consul-General in Hong Kong, of course, investment is one of your major focus. The other is cultural exchange. So what do you plan to do in order to promote the cultural exchange, let the people in Hong Kong know much more about South Africa, and have a kind of, let's say, more interaction for the people between the two places?
Thank you for your question. In order to achieve that on cultural exchanges, is to engage more in dialogues. One, two, is to engage in having events. For example, doing events like I would be invite a local to come and understand our culture. That in that way, that is how I think we can achieve on attaining that understanding, or rather executing cultural exchanges. So in short, like I said to you, in order for me to attain the investment factor, I need to have cultural exchanges. So to do that, I need to invite you to come and understand me better. Meaning through events. Normally here in South Africa, we have in September, we have Heritage Day. So Heritage Day, in that day, we celebrate our heritage and also. So I would normally invite the Hong Kongers to come and experience those kind of things. And so through that, you can understand me. And that is why normally here in Hong Kong, you celebrate Chinese New Year. So to South Africa, it's unique. It's not something that we celebrate. So that's how we understand each other. So I would normally go and have fun in those festivities of Chinese New Year. So through those kind of interaction, that is how we I can realize that a cultural exchange on getting to know knowing you actually. Yes.
In South Africa,
Yeah.
I was told it's a big thing,
Yeah.
but there seems no promotion of that in Hong Kong. Very little people or very few people know about it, even though it is a very big event.
Okay. Thank you for that. Normally, that event, it happens making sure we put, because of there've never been an interest. Someone coming to, for example, to say, I'm interested on going to South Africa on this. Can you kindly give me more details about this thing? I normally see people cycling around, but I've never knew that like there is a deep sense of love of cycling to extend that they would take it to a kind of a competitions. So should anyone have those kind of, my office is open so that we can assist you in making sure that you can be part of that. But thank you for that what you call concern about like why there's not too many advertisements about it. We will start looking at other big events that takes place in South Africa. For example, marathon. In June we have what we call Toshin, the other one, the biggest one. Comrades. So Comrades is one of the biggest and the most because of it's a very tough one. It's about 88 kilometers of marathon there. So most people like they come for that. So I think our office, through your question, I think would look at like making sure that like maybe through our website we put those kind of the dates of these big events. For example, cycling, marathon, and other activities that might be interest to other people in Hong Kong that we might not know. So thank you for that. Because of, to be honest, it's a very good question, and I'm gonna answer it very in this fashion. Yes and no. Yes, there's one that just happened just recently called Gazi. I think some Indonesian guy who have more links with South Africa opened one in Hong Kong. Well, they tried to have the food of South Africa and what. Other than that, we don't have any South African restaurant. But me and my team in the office, we are always advised, like South African business to say, come and open like a restaurant here in Hong Kong, because of we live with the international community. For example, Nando's. I think most of you that have traveled around the world, you have seen the chicken outlet called Nando's, right? Those who have traveled, it doesn't matter in the States, in London, there is Nando's like in wherever. So for those kind of things that we want to say, come in and invest here in Hong Kong. There's much to do business here. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
South Africa has visibility when we have the rugby sevens, right? Yeah, because South Africa always comes to Hong Kong. Yeah, and I'm sure that there are other occasions, but it's true that there can be other occasions where in South Africa can be promoted. I think Hong Kong people loves to go to the malls. Maybe you can have, just a minor suggestion from me, is that you may want to host exhibitions about products, events in big shopping malls, so that the shopping malls, the people of Hong Kong go during the weekends and holidays, so they will be exposed to South African culture, South African events, South African products. Apart from the Hong Kong Education and Career Expo, right? So that's where
we met.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So and the other thing is, of course, for young people like Heidi, one of our younger staff, she likes to go to South Africa, and I was thinking maybe you'd like to negotiate with our government for bilateral what do you call the work exchange visa, right? For 1 year. That would allow for young people to move towards Hong Kong and going to South Africa in both ways. Yeah, and I think that would be beneficial.
It certainly would. Going to the promotion of South Africa, likely very soon we're going to be having what we call South Africa Week, where we'll be going to be promoting everything from art, from films, from wines, everything about South Africa. We got the best wines in the world. People don't know about it. We go to Cape Town, we got the best wine farms you can ever think of. So in that week, it will be published. We'll send you all the communication, and so that to make sure that like possibly to invite some of this the people who are here, so that like you can come and understand South Africa. Going back to cultural issues, it's also in that week, now you will understand South Africa better. through everything amalgamated in one week, meaning it'd be everything in one. You understand South Africa so this was more also supported. It's also supported by the Secretary of Commerce. Yes, so it's been supported by them through a TDC trade, absolutely. So that you're gonna see. That's how you're going to know South Africa more better and holistically.
So I think we have quite a session today. Lots of interesting things crop up, questions, and we introduced the books, and especially CG's very rich sharing of his personal experience. So I think we learned a lot from him, and we are looking forward to learning more about your country through the events that you are planning in future. And please invite us to go. And I take this opportunity to thank him personally, because the National Day celebration is very near. It's actually in 2 days' time. And he still takes his valuable time to come here to have this sharing. So please, again, thank him. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you very much for having me. And the relationship that we're having with your university is gonna be long-lasting. And back to the audience, you're being a very wonderful audience. Judah, if I have to rate you, I'll give you 10 out of 10. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much again, Mr. Mogono. I'm sure everyone has learned more about South Africa and Mr. Consul General himself after the discussion. So today's fireside chat with Mr. Consul General Mogono has come to an end. May I take this opportunity again to thank our honorable guest, Mr. Mojalefa Mogono, for coming once again and for the engaging discussion we just had. Also, thank you to all of you who are here today. Hope to see you all next time. Thank you very much.